Morning, Uncle. Hi, everyone.
Morning, doctor. How are you?
Hi, Ndaba, Troy, and Bongile.
Good morning, doctor.
Morning,
Hey,
doctor. How are you?
Troy.
Morning,
Sorry,
doctor.
doctor?
Today you are very punctual, eh?
Yeah, I made sure this time, doctor. I'm sorry. I'm at home in Kempton Park now, so now I've got stable internet connection, not like in Pretoria.
Ah,
Morning,
okay.
doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Morning,
Okay,
Uncle. How
awesome.
are you
Morning,
this
doctor.
morning?
I'm doing very well, thanks to yourself, doctor.
Okay. So let's give the others some few minutes to plug in, and then we can begin, eh? So I believe you guys are ready for the presentations. Remember, that is part of the lesson which we began. Still on information management. So kindly just organize yourselves, as we give the others of some few minutes. So we have the first group. That is Geoffrey's and Bongile's group. We have the second group. So Nontalesa, there's a group that is ready. Can take the stage.
Yes, Doctor.
Nkosi, is your group ready?
Yes, yeah, we are, doctor.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Then I think you can go first, eh?
Okay.
So let me see.
Yes.
So
I'm
I
just
have
gonna-
enabled you guys to share your presentation.
All right. I'm gonna get it started now, doctor.
Yes.
So you guys can see that, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Trying to get rid of this. I don't know why it's doing this.
You can put it on presentation mode.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hide the. Oh, there you go.
Presentation.
Okay, so the beginning. All right.
Okay. Good morning, guys. Well,
Morning.
yeah, so we are group 1 and we're going to be doing traceability systems to control food and feed. Okay, so yeah, the first slide says, what are traceability systems? Traceability, which is important when items are proven to be defective, is the capacity to pinpoint the source of food and feed ingredients as well as food sources. Therefore, it can make it easier to pinpoint the source of a product's deviation, improve the capacity to withdraw or recall that product if necessary, and finally, stop consumers from being exposed to harmful products. Next slide, please. Okay. And then the importance of traceability systems in the agricultural sector. The ability to establish verifiable safety and quality compliance procedures is enhanced by the implementation of effective traceability systems. Due to the increased availability of relevant data, agri-food companies are better equipped to manage risk and respond quickly to emergencies, recalls, and withdrawals. By enabling quicker access to accurate and reliable data that aids in locating the source and location of items that are implicated. In fact, effective traceability systems considerably shorten the time it takes to respond when an outbreak of an animal or plant illness arises. Additionally, it enables companies to make better management choices, which expands market penetration and lowers operational cost. The capacity for the organization to see the data offered by traceability systems utilizes and raises the effectiveness and efficiency of their resources and procedures their long-term financial success. When properly implemented, traceability can decrease the loss of out-of-date products, minimize inventory levels, and accelerate the process of identification, exacerbate supply issues, boost distribution and logistics efficiency operations. And then characteristics of traceability systems. Identify of all component and product units and batches, registration of information on the movement and transformation of unit and batch locations. Connects data and sends the product's all essential traceability information to the subsequent stage or processing step. Nevertheless, the quantity of information as well as the period forward or backward is recorded. However, the level of accuracy with which the system can track the movement of specific products may vary between traceability systems. Thank you. Okay,
Okay,
then
so,
this is
yeah, that's just an example that we wanted to put up for you guys just to have a quick look at. So yeah, that's just a bit of internal traceability and external traceability.
yeah.
Right.
I will take you guys through the types of traceability systems. We have the internal traceability systems and the external traceability systems. The internal traceability system requires all traceable items to be uniquely identified and information to be shared between all affected distribution channel participants. External traceability allows tracing. I mean, internal traceability allows tracing back, supplier traceability, and tracking forward client traceability. External traceability system. The external traceability system allows one to properly locate the raw materials and components of the finished food product within the production process and the enterprise. This is because since the final food product is made from different raw materials, processed, combined with other components and repackaged, it must have its own identifier or combination of numbers and letters by which it can be tracked. The various traceability systems. We have the radio frequency identification device. The RFID technology involves inserting a chip capable of being identified through the frequency of radio waves emitted. Some RFID devices have a memory function which can store data, which will facilitate greater information transmission. RFID devices are either active in the sense that they can send electronic waves or passive where they can only reflect electronic waves from the RFID reader. For example, using paper tags or brands on cattle. RFID tags can also be used for the purpose of their automatic identification. We also have barcodes. A barcode is an optimal machine readable presentation of data relating to the object to which it is attached. Barcodes systematically represent data by varying the width and the spacing of parallel lines, which we have an example from the previous slide. Parallel lines, wide or rectangles, dots, hexagons, and other geometric patterns in 2 dimensions. Barcodes can be available on devices such as desktop printers and smartphones. They help to disclose the origin of the product as well as its manufacturing and expiration date. And lastly, wireless sensor networks, WSN. The wireless sensor network is especially distributed autonomous network of sensors to collect and monitor data from physical environmental conditions such as temperature, sound, pressure, etc., and to cooperatively pass their data through the network to a main location. Sensors facilitate identification and tracking, such as animal GPS tracking, health monitors, or condition tracking like room and pH and temperature. And then we have the blockchain-enabled traceability system. This type of system helps to effectively track, aggregate, and share supply chain data. With the blockchain, the data is first distributed or shared using a record-keeping system that eliminates the need to aggregate or reconcile across several separate ledgers. Then it is immutable upon information being added, and it cannot be deleted. And this requires a specific key to view specific information or add to the ledger. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm going to take you through the beef traceability system. The beef traceability system majorly.
Excuse me, Sibongile.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
the only one presenting? Where
No,
the other-
doctor, we trying to get a hold of Jeffrey to get him to do this the next couple of slides. We aren't sure whether his mic's working or not.
Oh, okay.
The
That's
online,
why
ma'am.
otherwise I don't
Okay,
mind doing
yeah.
the last 3 as well.
Yes, I'll leave this one to Jeffrey.
Okay.
Is Jeffrey around?
Yes, he logged in. I saw. He's been around, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's here.
Hello? Yes.
Hi, Geoffrey.
Good morning, doctor.
Morning, morning.
Yes, so I'm going to take the whole discussion to the beef traceability system.
Mhm.
This system is mainly used in a country like Japan. It is very, very good. You find that this system helps, it provides information, a good track record of looking at the time at which the animal was born, at the time at which where the slaughtering process took. It also clearly shows the breeding location of this animal and the breeding manager for the purpose of decision making. So you realize this traceability, it is very necessary such that the beef that is brought on the market, if there could be issues, can be traced back to the farm from which this product was obtained. Then we have systems of production information making. That this is also still another system used in Japan. It is a system that also more or less like the brief traceability system. It clearly helps to trace back where the product was got. So you find that this system helps in providing that kind of information: the sex, the death birth of the animal, the date of slaughter, date of packaging, the batch number. So it is very, very necessary in good record keeping of agricultural and chemical and even fertilizer used in production. Next slide. Then we have the electronic data interchange. This is a very good traceability system. It is very essential in communication of different information and even data sharing. So it helps in tracking the movement of goods and ensure compliance with safety standards. So companies like DHL, FedEx, they have this kind of system that helps in tracking the product as it moves to different markets. Then we have food safety management systems. This management system is very essential in trying to control different potential hazards that can easily have an entry point in stages of production, processing of food and feed. So these food safety management systems, they have an aspect of hazard critical control points. So they help, or they try to stress where at which point did we have an entry of hazards into the feed of food. Then there is national and international regulations. Now, these systems are put in place to guide businesses that try to produce products to the consumers, but they are there to ensure that what these businesses produce, is it really fit for consumption? So you find some of these international, national and international regulations are enforced. Now, they are enforced in a sense that for you to start up a business that is producing food, you must have that compliance. So the products that are being produced have to be to standard. So these regulations are very important in record keeping, even take a great step in labeling, and this is also documentation to ensure that the safety and the traceability of the product is very possible. OCID and FAO guidance for some of these responsible supply chains, because it is from these responsible guidelines that some of these international and national regulations are built. So they build that kind of framework that allows benchmarking for these standards to help these agribusinesses and investors to contribute to see that there is a sustainable kind of food safety for the health reasons of the population.
Okay, I'll run through the conclusion for us. So in conclusion, it can be said that traceability systems are of large importance when it comes to the control of feed and food. Traceability systems ensure that there's a constant compliance and adherence to the rules and regulations that are set in the food and feed sector with regards to safety, areas of origin, and even the characteristics of each particular feed or food. Traceability systems have also brought about the large positive impacts of being able to identify crises at the source in a shorter space of time. This will mean that issues can be dealt with more efficiently and effectively, and the negative impacts of these crises or challenges on both producers and consumers will be reduced. Traceability systems have also shown positive impacts in terms of decision-making for management at all levels, as well as ensuring greater financial sustainability through inventory management, waste reduction, and the overall efficiency and effectiveness of product distribution and logistics. As was shown, there are two types of traceability systems: internal traceability systems as well as external traceability systems. Each of these traceability systems will have their own purpose and the ability to bring about information regarding food and feed using different types of techniques. It is essential that businesses make optimal use of the traceability systems that are available to them in order to ensure that they are able to operate at the most efficient and effective level. Traceability systems will also provide businesses with higher levels of certainty. This will be very important during business decision making and can have large positive effects on the longevity of businesses heading into the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Let's appreciate Group 1 for the presentation. So they have walked us through, the introduction bit, explaining what traceability is all about, the different technologies, and giving us an example, the beef traceability systems and how it works, and other examples as well. So I think that is good. So well appreciated. So we move to the second group.
Thank you, Doctor.
So please, if you have questions, maybe can we ask questions at this point?
Yeah.
Yes, concerning the beef traceability system, the one that is used in China, Japan, what is the name of that system? Does it have a name or?
Just look. Where was it? It was here somewhere. Why can't I find this now? There it is. There. I'm not too sure if it's got a specific name. To be honest with you, Doctor.
Does it have a specific name? The system?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, Doctor. A lot of them are actually just like there isn't actually a name. It's more just stipulating what it does, I guess, if that makes sense. So even like the system of product information making it's not really there's not like a specific name given to it. It's almost just explaining what the system does. That's how I understood it.
Oh, okay.
Or which product it's related to. Yeah.
And also to supplement on that, you realize that for example, for the case of Japan, looking at the Japan agricultural standards, it is clearly stipulated as the beef traceability system in their Japan agricultural standards. That's how it was in their documentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Of course, later on, we'll try and find out if there are advanced, traceability systems in, of course, developed countries and other countries, compared to the developing countries.
Yes.
Yes. So let's move to the second group.
Doctor, I'm just having issues trying to load up my mic and stuff again, or trying to get my control panels back. I'm just gonna leave the meeting to make sure that it stops sharing my screen, and then I'll join back right now. I just want to go through the link again.
Okay, so you're leaving and then
I'll leave and I'll join back within the next minute, Doctor. I'll be back. I'll be right back, just to make sure that my screen goes away so that the other people can share.
You are through with the presentation and you want to chicken out, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, but don't disappear, because you also need to pay attention to the other presentations, eh?
No, of course, Doctor. I promise I'll be back now. Within the next minutes, I'll be back. Promise.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
So let's move to the second team. Second team.
Doctor, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes.
Doctor, I have noticed throughout the meeting my internet connection has been dropping. So if the slides do disappear, just give it a few seconds or whatever, and then my internet connection comes back in. So hopefully it doesn't happen throughout the slideshow.
That's our prayer as well. Okay, so you can begin then.
Introduction. Food safety is a critical concern in the agricultural supply chain, and traceability systems play a significant role in ensuring the safety, quality of the food and feed products. These systems help track the origin, production, processing, distribution of food and feed items, enabling a rapid response to potential contamination or safety issues. And thus, this presentation aims at discussing various traceability systems used to control food and feed along agricultural supply chains. Peter?
Hello. Morning, class.
Morning too.
I'll take you through the barcode as a traceability system. Can I share my screen? So the barcode and QR code system. Barcode is an optical machine-readable representation of data relating to the object to which it is attached. How it works. It systematically represents data by varying the width and spacing of parallel lines or rectangular. They can be dotted or hexagon. Data collected by barcode is exceptionally accurate and is believed to be over 99% accurate. Barcode and QR code labels are fixed on food and feed products, packaging, or pallets. I believe we are all seeing this when you go to supermarkets and purchase any food product. Usually on the packaging, there's that barcode labeled, and this helps us. This contains information about the product, such as its origin, the batch, lot number, and expiring date. Scanning these codes at various points in the supply chain helps us track product movement and trace back to the source if needed. Barcodes are available on our phones in form of apps, and they help us, and they're available in form of mobile apps and websites, allowing consumers to trace the origin of products they purchase by scanning barcodes or QR codes. This transparency enhances consumers' trust and encourages safe practice within the supply chain. It's found on most of the fruits and vegetables packaging to show which farm it comes from. So some of the challenges associated with barcode are, it comes with high costs. These costs are in form of technology involved in installing the software, constant servicing, and training of workers on how to use these barcodes. And we find that on the African continent, it's not really that popular due to the high costs that most of the small and medium enterprises can't encounter. Another challenge is it comes with high skills required in use and implementation. The next traceability system is radio frequency identification technology. It's a technology which inserts a chip capable of being identified through the frequency of radio waves emitted. The RFID tags use radio waves to transmit product information wirelessly to RFID readers. Some have memory function, which enables greater information transmission. These tags are often used for livestock, pallets, and containers, which help to identify which is the source of location, or which was the source of location of a specific item, and what course such item followed automatically. Usually, this is done through tracking systems which collect data strategically. The RFID allows for real-time tracking and monitoring of products and they move through the supply chain, being used in cattle and then in the packaging houses, then convert to the QR code. Same challenges apply as they are really costly for most of the small and medium enterprises in the African continent. And you see that they require high skills in use.
Okay, so blockchain technologies. Sam, can you kindly open it to from current slide, so that it can be bigger? Kindly. No? The far end. No, the far end. Okay, stop sharing.
Should be
I
on presentation mode, eh?
Yeah, presentation mode.
Let me stop sharing.
Okay, so okay, it's fine. I don't know why I can't seem to see much. Kid, would
You
you
also
just
experiencing the
share?
same problem, eh?
Yeah, it's I can't seem to see the Kid, would you kindly share?
Okay, hopefully my internet connection will carry on and work from here on. Blockchains and current slide.
But I think in the interest of time, maybe we can just proceed. Guys, oh, okay.
Okay, thanks, Kid. Okay, so blockchain technology. A blockchain is a decentralized and immutable ledger that records every transaction in a transparent and secure manner. It is used to create a tamper-proof record of each step in the supply chain, making it easier to trace the history of a product. This technology enhances transparency and trust among supply chain participants, since blockchain technologies records include information about the origin of the product, its quality, and any certifications it has received. Okay, so we found the main ways in which blockchain technology is being used in the agricultural supply chains is through data integrity. This is through blockchain ensures the integrity of data related to food products. Each transaction or event in the supply chain is recorded as a block, and once added to the blockchain, it cannot be altered, providing a transparent and tamper-proof record. For example, we have Walmart Food Trust platform which uses blockchain to trace the journey of food products from farm to store shelves. Customers can scan a QR code on a product to access information about its origin, processing, and transport. So the second way is through supplier verification. Blockchain facilitates verification of suppliers and their certifications. This ensures that suppliers meet certain standards and comply with the regulations throughout the supply chain. For example, In the coffee industry, we have Farmer Connect, which uses blockchain to provide consumers with information about the source of their coffee beans, and it verifies that coffee is sourced from sustainable and ethical producers, providing transparency and trust. So when we were going through this, we came across University of Nairobi study they did, and in Kenya we have things that are using blockchain currently. We have eProd, which has been using blockchain since 2015, and we have FarmForce, which is in the contract farming. And I'll go ahead and share that link. You can go ahead and look at it. So the other one, we have the GPS, the Global Positioning System. The GPS technology is used to track the movement of vehicles and shipments. It provides real-time location data, which can be integrated into traceability systems to ensure the safe transport of food and feeds products. So we found the main GPS technologies that are being utilized in agriculture is real location tracking, where the GPS allows for precision tracking of the location of food and feed shipments through the supply chain. This enables real-time monitoring of the transportation process, ensuring that products are stored and transported under proper conditions. Okay, so for instance, we have in the seafood industry, a company that is named the Bubble Bee Foods in the US has used GPS to track the location of fishing vessels. This helps verify the source of the catch and ensures it comes from sustainable and legal fishing zones. The other thing is on geofencing. And geofencing technology, often integrated with GPS, allows for the creation of virtual boundaries. When food products cross these boundaries, it triggers alerts, helping to prevent unauthorized diversions or tampering. Okay, so for instance, a dairy farm, for instance, we have the pasture here in Kenya, uses the geofencing to ensure that milk shipments remain within a defined route from the farm to the processing facility. In the vehicle deviates from the specified path, an alert is sent, potentially indicating a problem. So this aids in tracking and traceability.
Nancy, we've lost your.
Oh, sorry.
Someone else is to.
Supply audits and
okay.
certifications. It's okay. Many food and feed suppliers undergo audits and certifications to demonstrate their adherence to safety standards. Okay, these standards can include ISO standards, good agricultural practices, that is the GAP, the good manufacturing practices, that is the GMP, and we have the hazard analysis and critical control points, which is the HACCP. Also, government organizations that watch over food health and
sorry, my speaker wasn't working. This is my slide. Sorry about that, Doctor. Government organizations that watch over food and health and safety carry out inspections to ensure standards are maintained and adhered to. Like the state vet in the Republic of South Africa ensures all abattoirs are up to code and standard, all hygiene practices are met, and they are a 6-monthly process. Every 6 months, an abattoir must be checked. And if there's any diseases discovered, then it's done every 2 to 3 months.
Good morning, Doctor. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Morning, Mushi.
So yes, I'm doing the electronic record keeping and documentation. So digital records and documentation systems help organizations maintain detailed records of their products and transactions and quality. So farm records can include any of the following: expenses, labor, chemical pesticides, tracking harvest and yield records, planting records, shipping records, compliance records, and more. So this also includes data on product testing, temperature monitoring, and other critical factors for safety and quality. So traceability plays a huge role in practicing safe farming, as it is always important to be able to look back and see the full history of the product from planting to shipping. Keeping your records in a good order will simplify this process, and that's what electronic record keeping and documentation helps to facilitate. Then moving on to the next one. I don't know if somebody can just press the next slide. Then we go on to trusted third-party verification services. So some companies enlist third-party verification services to audit and validate their supply chain processes and traceability systems. These verifications provide an extra layer of confidence in the safety and authenticity of food and food products. So the example that I found was by one sustainability assessment provided by SOA Group. And so what that is that it's the farmer sustainability assessment has been developed by the Sustainable Agriculture Initiative platform to enable farms and companies to drive relevant and demonstrate continuous improvement on farm and social environment and their business process through supply chain coordination. So the FSA allows farms and their off-takers to self-assess and improve on their farm sustainability performance in a coordinated and traceable manner. The resulting performance level claim can be externally verified, which is a requirement for making market-facing sustainability claims in relation to products or ingredients. So what happens is the farmers do their own audit, and then in groups they are able to audit each other and ensure that the claims that they've made in terms of their sustainability are verified for the actual market. And then the next one is, if you can just go to the next slide for me. Government regulations and reporting. So governments often mandate traceability and reporting requirements for certain food and feed products. These regulations may include the need for labeling, recording, and reporting. For example, in South Africa, I looked at the meat regulations, and they provide certain regulations in terms of the standards for classes, the determination of age classification, the determination of fatness classification, the determination of conformation classification, and the determination of damage classification. So all service providers have to ensure that the carcasses and the heads thereof and the way that they're evaluated have to be identified according to these regulations that South Africa sets out. And then when you bring your products out, they can be tracked through the regulations that the government provides on how they should be classified. Yeah, that's my part. Thank you.
Advanced analytics and data integration. Big data analytics and machine learning are increasingly used to analyze data from various traceability systems. Predictive analytics can help identify potential food safety issues before they become widespread problems. The big agribusinesses use these tools to help try and predict trends and improve the supply in that area. Such systems may be systems, for example, for identification and monitoring technologies, systems for communication, and also system for data management. In conclusion, the development and implementation of traceability systems along with certifications have become essential tools in ensuring the safety and quality of food and feed products along the agricultural supply chains. These systems provide transparency, accountability, and the ability to respond quickly to food safety concerns, ultimately protecting consumers and improving food safety standards. Moreover, traceability systems help to minimize disruptions to trade. For example, these systems allows food businesses to target the products that may be a food safety problem or concern. These systems also enable the identification and recall of unsafe or contaminated products, making it easier to respond quickly to food safety incidents. And lastly, these systems act as an important link between food trade and environmental friendly supply chains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Group 2. And again, a round of applause to this team. A round of applause to the team. Yes, so again, they have highlighted a number of the traceability systems, and they've gone beyond that and also mentioned some of the certifications and the regulations that needs to be put in place to ensure that safety and traceability of these products, the agricultural products, as they move from the consumer, from the producer to the end. At the end of the day, we ensure confidence along the chain. Consumers must have confidence. They must trust these foods and even feedstuff. And we know that the current consumers, by the way, they are becoming very sensitive, and they are aware of many issues that are related to food safety and food system. So this discussion is very, very important. How do we ensure that we build their confidence and trust? So I think this is well done. Any question? Any question for this group? Any clarification?
I'm happy, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, I can just see the well done, Great, so let's move to the third team, Group 3.
Morning, Doctor. Sorry, just before I present, so
Yeah.
I will be presenting on behalf of one of our group members, Lindani. Due to unforeseen circumstances, due to an unforeseen family emergency, he couldn't be with us today. So that's why I'll be speaking a bit longer today. But we'll ask him to send an email explaining the whole situation to you later on, because it's not necessarily our place to speak about it.
It's okay, it's okay. So that's well noted,
All right, thank you, Doctor. Presentation. All right, can we start?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hanko Marais, and I'll be taking you through the first few slides of today's presentation for Group 3. Just a brief breakdown of who's more or less doing which section. I'll be taking us through the intro and the first 3 traceability systems. Then I'll hand over to Tembi, Musa, and Mercy to discuss the relevant sections. So when we consider what traceability systems are, they are fundamentally traceability is just a proactive approach to create and maintain a trail of information that follows the path of a product throughout the whole production process, with obviously a few aims of increasing transparency and so on. So traceability systems have a few aims that they would like to achieve, or the reason why they are implemented. Specifically looking at risk management systems and food safety, it provides us with an increased level of control and verification to ensure that producers are compliant with all of the necessary regulations and requirements to enter certain markets. It also ensures supply chain efficiency because it allows us to actually track the role players, and it actually allows us to identify some of the more efficient methods of information sharing. It aims to produce quality assurance and quality products at the end of it. And it obviously allows us to obtain the information that we wouldn't necessarily have and be able to communicate that with the end consumer, who are obviously, as I think one of the previous group mentioned, they're becoming more cognizant of what they're purchasing. And obviously that's making the business operation environment a bit more complex. The first traceability system that we have identified is from Australia, from a paper done by Petronella and Kalitz. And it has to do with the National Livestock Identification System that's implemented in Australia. So Australia had implemented this system. Sorry, Doctor. All right, to support and enhance Australia's competitiveness, especially with regards to export market, because they are among the biggest producers of beef due to obviously the large area size of the cattle farms. So specifically, how does the system work? So this is more of an electronic system. So it works either through electronic ear tag. The electronic ear tag has got a computer chip in it that tracks obviously the movement, the health, and obviously it allows the farmers to attach all of the additional information with regards to feeding that they've done, with regards to the age, the sex, and all of those other factors that consumers might want to know. However, this can also be done by a rumen bolus. So rumen bolus kind of looks like a Ferrero Rocher. That's the easiest way for me to try and explain how it looks like, that the cows then ingest, and it actually stays within their stomach, and it also allows farmers to track the health of the animals, where the animals are, and so forth. This system obviously now stores this data electronically, and it obviously helps us to record things like animal movement, production information, animal health information, and so forth. With regards to the second traceability system, we've identified...
Hello?
Yes, Doctor? Okay. Is in Japan. So they've titled it the domestic traceability system. That can either be done in an ear tag that then identifies the animal's unique identification code. This tag can then be linked to a database. This is a more manual process that is then linked to the breed, the sex, the production history, and the feed information of that specific animal. Think of it like kind of like an Excel-based system where you can input all of this stuff. I know some farms have a more advanced technological system where some of this is automatic. Upon tagging, they record all of this stuff immediately, and it is linked to the database of information. And obviously, consumers will have this access to this information right at the end. However, this traceability system consists of 4 main levels. So upon the birth of the animal, they are tagged. And at that stage, the farmers can either choose to take out hair samples from the tail, or I know some farmers use the ear cutting system to track their animals. So that DNA is then sent off to a lab for them to determine the DNA sample, as well as link that to the respective ID of the animal. Then the animals will receive a 10-digit code, kind of like in the tags that are shown here. The ID numbers on the front, and then the 10-digit ID code is on the back that obviously responds to each individual animal that's been produced through the farm. All of this information is then retained in this electronic system with regards to the animal health, nutrition, and it's linked to this 10-digit code. Once the animals are then sold and sent off to the abattoir process, they will then obviously be slaughtered and so on, but this 10-digit code remains with that specific animal throughout the whole process, slaughtering process, all the way to storage and the cold facilities, even through the butcher houses. And it will be linked to that barcode that consumers could obviously link or scan, that will show them kind of like the history, the life history of the animal. The third system we've identified is closer to home. It's known as the Karoo lamb meat traceability system, which was from a study done by Melissa van der Merwe in 2013. So the sheep are obviously, once they've been produced on the farms, they are tagged and, excuse me, they are tagged and they receive either a tag or a tattoo in the upper lip or in the ear, which is obviously their identification, their individual identification number. Obviously, once they are then sent to the abattoir, sorry, I see these points are swapped around on the slide. Once they are sent to the abattoir, they are kept in specific pens according to the batch number and size that they've been offloaded. In South Africa, we have a more old-based system where obviously the driver will have a written letter of permission to have loaded those animals and transport them on the highway just to confirm that they are not stolen. Once they get to the abattoir and they've been offloaded into their separate pens, keeping the batches together, the abattoir will issue a note confirming obviously the size of the number of animals that have been offloaded, which is then given to the farm, the truck driver as confirmation that they've actually offloaded their cargo and that it was the correct number that they loaded specifically. So once they're offloaded at the abattoir, they are further sorted into age, gender, and breed categories. And each separated category then will receive a batch number. After they are slaughtered, these batches will be kept together to ensure the reliability of the system. These batches are obviously kept separate during hanging processes. And then once they've been through the whole slaughtering processes and they've been in the cool room for a few days, they will then be graded, classified, and weighed. And each tag or each carcass will then be tagged with the following bulletin. So as you see right at the bottom, there's a batch number that is usually given to each specific carcass. So that batch number will contain the specific code of the abattoir. So each code in South Africa has a specific number that they will then get, that they can then make use of when they obviously, I don't know what the English word is, but when they stamp or chop the meat. Then it has the year. So obviously for this batch code, it would be 2008, the week, which is week 29, the first day of the week, which is obviously a Monday, and then the number of animals that would be in that batch. Furthermore, once they've been through the first in and out method, through the cool rooms, and once they've been sent to the butchers, they are also still kept within these batches. Once they've been processed at the butchers, they will then receive a unique label, such as the one that's depicted on the left-hand side here with the Karoo certified meat of origin logo, as well as that original barcode that links to all of the information, the meat cut, the price, the weight of the packaged meat, etc.
Thank you very much, Hangu. I'll be talking about traceability tools, and the first one is the RFID, and it came about back in 2011 when after Japan actually experienced an earthquake. So other countries used it to trade with Japan due to the release of radioactive materials from the damaged nuclear plants. So radio frequency identification uses radio waves to automatically identify objects. The identification is done by storing a serial number and other information on a microchip that is attached to an antenna. It is usually used in production processing, warehousing, distribution, and sales. It provides members with food distribution information, technical support services, and analyze food customer behaviors based on the recorded data. It is widely used for tracking live animals. So the advantages of it is that there are no lines of sight in reading it, so it's easy to read it. You can read and write the tags, higher data rate and larger memory size, reversible text. So if you make a mistake, you can go back and like redo it. It can read many texts simultaneously, so you don't have to do it manually or like one at a time. And the disadvantages is that it needs you to rely on reader for data collection. Text cannot initiate communication, no cooperation among the devices, limited capability for environmental sensing. So it still needs to be worked on when it comes to censoring the environment that it is. And then the issue that it still has is that it's expensive to actually use. So with the wireless sensor networks, it is used for sensoring, processing, and communication. It has sensor nodes that collect environmental information, which is temperature and humidity, and convert it into digital format to be stored in database. So normally this is used for meat. It's good for fresh produce and like meat, as I said. I don't know if you recall if you came out of the article. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can, Tammy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
No,
yes.
please go back. Sorry, please go back. So there was a problem with the rotten eggs with the Spar retail, where if they had the wireless sensor networks, it would have been easy to actually monitor the temperature of the eggs, and also with meat, for them to be able to say that, okay, this meat will be like the expiring date, to be able to write the expiring date. The temperature needs to be maintained. Ma'am, your mic is on.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's okay, ma'am. So if they use the wireless sensor, they'll be able to maintain the expiring date and be able to maintain the required temperature and the humidity. So that is one of the advantages of it. And then another one is the network set up so without fixed infrastructure. So it does not need to be it does not need an infrastructure, so it's wireless. You can use it whenever it is. It's suitable for non-reachable places. Implementation price is low, small amount of wiring, flexible to undergoing physical partitions. Communication is secure among nodes. It has ability for long reading ranges. So the disadvantage is reduced security because it can be anywhere. Lower speed as compared to a wired network. Easily troubled by surrounding and then gets distracted by various elements. And another thing is that because it does not use an infrastructure, it does not use an infrastructure, it needs a battery. So it can, like, as along the way while using it, it can like lose its battery life. So that is why it's recommended that you actually also use data mining, because like it's flexible in communication and securing among nodes. So thank you. Over to Musa.
Yes, Wendy.
Over to Musa. I don't know.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
Other traceability tools are Musa. Other traceability tools
Musa.
include the QR codes. And these QR codes contain data for allocators and identifier and web tracking. The QR codes are square in form, and they are used. They contain information about the product and the producer. They are easily read using the camera on phones. The edible barcodes mark are applied directly to foods and are considered a food additive. This is a small microscopic particle or a chip that contains information about the, for example, animal. Mainly it is applied in animals. It contains information about the animal, let's say the disease, the feeding, and the year when the animal was born, the breed. The information is encoded on a microchip particle and is given to the animal as part of the feed, since it is considered to be an additive. The barcode contains information, but for it is read by a machine, not a phone like the QR code. And it contains information about the specific information about the product and not the producer. Let's say if it is maize flour, it will have information of the type, the grade, among others. We have the blockchain technology, and the blockchain technology is a chain that is a centralized ledger that contains information of the product, but each block contains several set of data concerning the product. Uncle? As we are talking about the traceability, who is calling for traceability in the supply chain? And why should traceability be an issue? Market failure is one of those that are calling for traceability. If, for example, a company's products is being transported, for example, from Kenya to Uganda, and then when it reaches market, if a consumer has no information concerning this product, it will be hard for the consumer to trust a new product on market without any information and where to get the information from. Then the supply chain and process management. We have different bodies in different countries that are concerned with the supply chain management. And this actually starts from the companies or the manufacturers. These people want to know how far their product has reached. So with these traceability systems, it is easier since wherever the code is scanned, the company gets information of where it has been scanned from. Then we have the mandatory regulations. For example, in Uganda, we have what we call the UNBS, the URSBs. These the UBOS, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. These people or these bodies need to know how much has been produced, how much has been sold to where, so that it becomes so easier for them to report and make trend analysis. With the traceability codes or systems, it is easier for the regulatory authorities to know how much has been sold or exported to different countries. Thank you very much. Hello?
We are listening. Continue, please.
We have the geographical, yes?
Yes, Musa, I'm presenting.
Okay, fine.
Am I heard? Okay. A geographical indicator. Okay, thank you. A geographical indicator is geographical indication is an indicator of a product's geographical origin and a specific quality due to its particular geographical origin. Maybe to clearly speak to us, this is a system that has been in place, but mainly it has been on, you guys know about the champagne. So under the GI products it's more of a branding thing, but it's a system of traceability. How is it put in system? For example, I'll use an example. A product is, for example, I'll use coffee, that since it's also something we are doing in Uganda, basically in the coffee industry. What is done is that we go back to the ground where this coffee is grown, measure the altitude, the soil texture, and get to know the product, grow it, harvest it, have it, and for the sake of coffees, you cup them to get the quality, that intrinsic thing in the coffees. So you profile it, you profile it where the type, the species, you profile the brand, you profile everything, and give out information to the regulators about that particular product on the market. So this is basically what the GI is on. Like you see the champagne, it's particularly produced in France. Now, when it comes to coffee, since coffee is grown elsewhere or in different parts of the world and parts of the nation, we go back to zero it on the ground and get to know. Now you specify the kind of product. Yes, it is coffee, but the specification or the traceability bit in it is that you go back and say, this is maybe coffee grown in Uganda, for example, on Mountain Rwenzori. You look out at all the specific attributes or the uniqueness of the coffees that come from there, and that is what is profiled. So when a producer or when a buyer comes to buy, they get to know the history of the product, and these are also verified by the regulatory bodies in the nation. So there are very many products whose traceability systems lie under the geographical indicator, for example, coffees, wines, spirits, and industrial products, among others. Geographical indication tells consumers that the product is produced in a particular place with a specific characteristic due to the production area. A geographical indicator is a label that applies to products with specific quality, reputation, or other characteristics resulting from the geographical origin. These specific characteristics can be as a result of the natural or human factors. GIs are protected by the intellectual properties of rights according to the World Trade Organization Agreement on the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights and the Governor Acts. The GI also represents a collective asset linked to a local heritage and reputation. Yes, Uncle? Okay. Yes, we've talked about the traceability system. So advantages of making use of this system. Traceability systems serve to ensure food safety along the supply chain, the supply and value chain. Traceability systems serve to improve the product quality and value since products managed in the systems aim at specialty and high quality products. Actually, when you look at the products with the traceability system, they are always of good quality or high quality. So traceability systems serve to improve the quality of the product. So it improves customers. Sorry, it provides customers with accurate information about the product because there's always that platform for a client or for a customer to read and get to know what am I buying, the history behind the product. So the traceability systems help business make informed management decision. For example, if you're taking on, if you want to engage in the traceability system, the commodity you provide. So it has to go through, it has to be like the decision you take has to be from an informed point. For example, if you're to register your commodity under the GI, let me say coffee, you have to follow the regulations under that system or that govern that system, helping managers of businesses make informed management decision, whether to join in or not. It's also a tool for market enhancement and a platform for advancement, because when you're producing a quality product, people will want to know. So the moment you engage in the system, you're increasing the visibility of your product and its brand, therein attracting many clients or increasing the market base. It's also a platform for defending and risk management. It is an important tool for record keeping in the chain as it keeps track of the food in the supply chain. Yes, Uncle? The disadvantages of making use of these systems, it is labor intensive since it involves capturing information of every activity along the supply chain. You're not only going to deal with the brand, you have to go back to the roots. Where is this product grown? Who are the different actors? So you need to collect. So in the end, it becomes very labor intensive. It is time consuming since a lot of bureaucracy is involved in the system, especially during the documentation, which results into product deliveries being delayed. For example, when you present a documentation to the regulatory bodies, they have to sit, it's not in a minute, they have to go through, also do their own surveys on the ground. Now, for example, of coffees, they also have to come on ground and cap those very coffees to verify the documents that you've really supplied. And in the long run, it's very time consuming. So traceability systems use advanced technologies which are not affordable and user-friendly to most people involved in the chain. For example, telling a farmer you have to do this, some of them don't even have smartphones. Some of them are not even user-friendly to the technology. Someone can't operate maybe a smartphone to capture the GPS points and what. So that is a disadvantage on the other hand. Yes, Hanko? Yeah, thank you so much. Back to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much for the great presentation. And I think you've been following up the presentations, and you can see that different presentations are unique. There must be something new that has been discussed. So again, I want to appreciate you. Let's appreciate the team. And thank you for the examples that you have cited, the beef and sheep, traceability systems and how they work, and it's really thought-provoking, and you're just trying to picture how it's done, and how you're able to access information that can be very useful in making decisions. And again, discussing the pros and cons of these systems, and which is very important, as much as we wish to have these systems in place, but then there are certain limitations, challenges that limits us from adopting these systems. So thank you very much. So let's move to the last team. Or is there a question? Anybody with a question, concern? Okay, so let's move to the last team. Ndaba and
Yes, can you guys see my screen?
yes, we can now see it.
You can now see it. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Okay,
so you can have it on presentation mode.
Sorry?
Presentation mode. Oh, yeah, it's okay. So I think you can walk us through your presentation.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Nguli. So we're group 4, and basically so what is traceability? So food traceability refers to the capacity to track agricultural products movements through all supply chains, both backwards and forwards. The production, processing, and distribution chains of food items and ingredients are tracked and linked through traceability. And then there's different characteristics of a traceability system, mainly the usual being the name and address and other contact details of suppliers, and a description of products or inputs supplied, the name and addresses and other contact details of customers, and a description of the product supplied to them, the date of the transaction or the delivery, the batch or lot identification or other markings, and the volume or quantity of products supplied or received. So basically how traceability works in the supply chain is that the end product will have a barcode or a QR code, and then this code is used to track the product. The code contains the information of the product and the producer, and then if the code is linked to a blockchain, it makes it possible to see who has handled the product and how the product was handled. So basically, this is just a diagram showing the flow of information of the product linked with a barcode through the retailer, shipping, transport, storage, harvesting, production and packing, shipping and transport. In the supply chain.
Good morning, I am Miponi Pokane, and I'll be taking you through the slide, the different traceability systems in the supply chain. We have different, as mentioned by my colleagues here, the different types of traceability systems, but the ones I'm going to be focusing on are mainly the serial number traceability, ingredient traceability, blockchain traceability, as well as data analytics and reporting. With serial number traceability, each product is assigned a unique serial number, which allows for precise tracking of individual items. This is commonly used in electronics, automotives, and high-value items. Ingredient traceability. In industries like food and pharmaceutical, it's essential to trace the origin and quality of ingredients and components used in products. Traceability systems helps ensure product safety and quality by tracking the source of each ingredient. Blockchain traceability. It is used in some traceability systems to record and verify transactions and movement of products or assets. Data analytics and reporting helps organizations gain insights from the data they collect, such as identifying trends, predicting potential issues, and optimizing processes.
Are you through, Pokane?
Next slide, please.
Morning. So as earlier discussed, traceability systems are very advantageous and they are of importance to mainly the consumers as well as also the suppliers. So as you intend to trace the origin and the packaging and how this product moves from the suppliers to the consumers, there is documentation that is done. And this documentation involves recording the packaging, the technology used maybe in the packaging, in the transporting. You also have the batch numbers. So all those records are kept. And in case of anything, you're able to trace back. So as we already said, it also eases the identification of the cause of a non-conformity in case there is any fault in a product. It's very easy for the suppliers or the stakeholders to trace back and know probably the ingredients that were used and they're able to rectify them. So it also ensures adequate coordination between the different actors involved along the supply chain. Facilitates appropriate use and reliability of information, effectiveness and productivity of the organization. That is particularly in case of maybe in the internal traceability systems where the product is tracked from the supplier to the consumers. So you're able to coordinate all the stakeholders that are involved in the supply of a particular product. So it also reduces wastage of the product since all targeted withdrawals are done. For example, during the supply of a product, in case you realize probably there is a fault somewhere or there was a mistake that was made maybe during the manufacture of the product, that such a product is withdrawn before it reaches the final consumer. And therefore the supply of such a product is stopped right away, other than continuing to supply such a product that is probably faulty or harmful to the consumers. So in the long run, wastage of such a product is limited. Next slide, please. Then you also make informed decisions as the suppliers, because you get to know what the consumers need.
Are you through? We've lost you. Hello? Have we lost her?
I think we have, but I'll just carry on for Alice. So with increased customer confidence in a particular brand, as sufficient information is provided, and then there'll be internal traceability, which maintains linkages between raw material inputs and the finished goods, and then quality products penetrate the market, thus enhancing public health. So I'll take it over to our last slide, which will be presented by me. Sorry, my internet connection is unstable at the moment, so sorry about that.
How does traceability link to transparency in the industry? Well, we mentioned consumer confidence. With the use of QR code, consumers can follow the commodity's entire journey from seed to finished product on store shelves. Consumer confidence is increased as a result of the QR code's instant information about the farm, manufacturer, and product quality. In this way, they are also able to make informed decisions about whether they should buy the product or not. In terms of food safety, it assists in finding and resolving food safety hazards. Companies may locate the source of contamination or safety problems and recall the contaminated product from the market. Like, as we know, same as transporting, let's say, tomatoes from farm until to the distributors, you might get that the tomato might be contaminated. Now, with the help of traceability, now the company itself may be able to locate the source. So it also assists with environmental sustainability, such as monitoring and managing inputs and outputs that can reduce environmental footprint and promote sustainable practices. This is amongst farmers as well as manufacturers. Market access, by adhering to the regulations of the importing nation, traceability systems can aid in a country's export revenue growth and economic expansion. Supply chain efficiency, transparency within the supply chain enables businesses to optimize operations, minimize food waste, as well as reduce risk of fraud. Thank you.
So is that all for the team? Pokane?
I think that is all, ma'am.
Okay, that's all, eh? Yes, so thank you very much. Again, let us appreciate this team for the presentation. So you are only three. Are you only three in this team? Pokane?
No, ma'am, we are four.
I thought that you are more than that, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are the other team members?
Well, I think Arno said he has a meeting, so we don't know.
So,
but he submitted his work.
So it's only Anna who is missing from the
Yes.
team?
Yes.
Okay. So I think, guys, this is well done. I think you've really done a good job. And if you even go through our the content of that topic 4, we have actually covered, you know, a big chunk of it. You've seen some of the technological advancements that are currently being used when it comes to information sharing, and again, the food quality aspects and the standards. And I guess that even in your countries, you have bodies that regulates food safety and standards. For instance, in Kenya, we have the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And I remember sometimes back was it last year or early this year, there are some products that were withdrawn, you know, from the shelves. So they keep on monitoring and ensuring that the foodstuff that are available on the shelves are safe for consumption. So it is very important to have these traceability systems. I know there are countries whereby the systems are really, really efficient. The amount of information that is available is enormous. And you can imagine tracing the beef that you are consuming to the producer, even the feed, you know, that was fed, you know, the animal. It's really, really interesting. You know, right now, because of, again, some unobserved behavior that we talked about, and individualistic, lots of self-interests. People take shortcuts. People engage in very weird activities. And at the end of the day, you know, all these impacts on the consumer's health. Think about the kind of beef that we take, the kind of, you know, even chicken that we eat. It has been pumped with a lot of chemicals. We are consuming lots of chemicals. The vegetables, I mentioned last time, a farmer sprays his or her vegetables today. After one day, takes the vegetables to the market. And yet, ideally, after spraying, the vegetables should take some number of days before it can be harvested. So if, for instance, the supermarkets are not keen, they are not monitoring, and most of us, African countries, we rely so much on these open air markets. Maybe South Africa is more advanced, but again, I know those open air markets exist. And who is keen on the food safety and who cares? So at the end of the day, this discussion is very, very helpful. So any question up to that point? So kindly share those presentations so that I can upload them on ClickUp. Any question, any concern, any examples that maybe you can share with us? Of course, different teams pointed out some few examples. But then we can say that when we keep track of information, it is not only for the traceability purposes, but then this information is very, very useful also in enhancing and optimizing production. Because remember, it is a two-way traffic. Even producers, they need information in terms of the preferences, the amount of chemicals that perhaps they should use, the varieties that they need to produce, and so on and so forth. So this information can again be channeled back to the producers and other actors within the chain. So as much as we are keen on the safety, of course, food safety, and some of the problems, of course, that contributes to food safety. But again, the information is very, very important for enhancing production. So we mentioned that food safety begins with the producers. It begins with the producers. And you mentioned a number of regulations and even standards that are very, very important that can be applied at that point. But then we also have different standards that are applicable at the different nodes of the chain. But the bottom line is that food and feed should be traced. They should be traceable, and therefore proper controls should be put in place to ensure that as a consumer, I'm privy to the information. I know a number of consumers don't care, but of late, consumers are really becoming cautious of these food safety issues. And you find that somebody takes time even to read, the labels. They want to understand where's the origin of this product, the ingredients. So any question?
No, Doctor.
Any question, anything to share with us?
No, thank you, Doctor. I'm very happy with the content.
Yes, but I think you guys have done really a good research. You've read a lot. So maybe what I'll do, I'll also share with you some of the articles or journals. There's one that Nancy shared. Nancy? I don't know, have you seen the link? I think Nancy shared with us this article. It's a policy brief. Is Kenya ready to leverage blockchain technology in horticulture traceability? So I think this is something that you can also read. It's of interest. I know the horticultural industry is such a huge industry, one of the export earners. And since, you know, we are marketing our products globally and targeting especially the EU market, and those guys, they have their standards and regulations that we must adhere to. But then are we ready to adopt some of these techniques to ensure that the sector can be, you know, the traceability can be enhanced within the sector? So it's something of interest that you could read. Other than this, you can also try and Google some articles. I will also share with you the relevant articles just to enhance your understanding, deepen your understanding on these systems. Now, the other thing that so concerning this topic, I think the coverage is well done. So I will also share with you articles on some of these concepts that we learned, the opportunism and how they can be dealt with. We talked about moral hazards. We talked about adverse, you know, selection, opportunism. So how can they be dealt with at the end of the day? They exist, eh? How can they be dealt with? So again, I will share with you some of the articles that relates to all that. Eh? But we must appreciate that trust is very important, even as we discuss about this traceability, you know, systems, transparency, trust, and even the amount of information that is availed at the end of the day, because one can decide to, you know, hide some information, deny the consumers some information, or maybe share information that is not really ideal. So what amount of information are they willing to share that can enable these actors to make informed decisions? But again, it is purely on trust. As you read that label, you're trusting that company, that farm, that whatever content has been captured on that label is right. Or maybe at some point you normally question, do you normally question some of those labels? Hello?
Yes, doctor.
Alice, have you ever questioned some of those labels? Do you normally doubt them?
Yes, actually, we have a problem in Uganda. I don't know whether it happens in other countries. There's a tendency where someone gets a product from actually something that is a different brand, and what they do, they just print and like put another label on a product that is not theirs, and then they sell it as their own product. So I'm imagining if you're trying to trace the origin of such a product, you may not really get the actual information, because it's some sort of rebranding, I can say. You get a product that it's as a different brand, then you rebrand it and sell it as your own product. So that's also a challenge. And actually, some people don't even have proper barcodes, in that even when you get a product that has a barcode, it cannot be read. So that means literally you can hardly get information about that product.
So there's some information that is hidden, that is missing, eh?
Yeah, some people just don't go through the right procedure to acquire those barcodes.
They take shortcuts, and you
Yes.
find that at the end of the day, we have these bodies in place, eh?
They are
The
there, but
regulatory bodies, eh? But they are
yeah,
compromised, eh?
yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
To the,
So,
even when they are to get such an individual or such a company, of course they will have penetrated the market already. So it takes quite a lot of time to withdraw such products in case they are either not right or they are faulty. So it's really a big challenge in the market. So you end up consuming, for example, you can consume sausages that you think they are farmer's choice, but actually they are not.
They're not from Farmer's Choice, eh?
Yeah.
I think that is a
the
big
label,
challenge in
will
Africa.
yeah, the label will show you, will read farmer's choice. And then maybe if you are sure of the taste as you're testing them, you realize actually it's not farmer's choice. But sometimes it's too late. I mean, you bought them, probably you've even prepared them, and then the supermarket will tell you goods once sold, not returned. Then so you just let it be.
Really disappointing, eh? Yeah, but what consumers are demanding for is transparency. Because the moment a consumer realizes that you're not transparent, you're not truthful, you're not giving them the right information, they will definitely switch to other products or companies, your competitors. So again, it is very, very important if you want to have an edge, a competitive edge in the market. So you must be honest, you must avail the right information. But I know most of these countries, especially African countries, we have a challenge. We love shortcuts. We don't want to do the right things, the right way. Because again, we don't want to spend. So this is where the self-interest again comes in. So you can see the connection between some of these unobserved behavior and, traceability. Any other contribution? Or any other case study? I know South Africa is a bit advanced. Maybe Hanko, from your experience, how are you managing traceability in South Africa? I know you guys are a bit advanced and you have the systems in place.
So specifically for our farm, Doctor, since we are a registered stud, we have to track all of that information manually. So birth weight, we have to obviously to date, the time that the calf was born. We also need to track the genetic lineage from the parents right through all the way, with the bloodline for each and every animal. We have to take samples of our animals for DNA testing and extraction. And then if you want to do bulls, like we produce bulls as well, they also require you to have frequent testing done on the bulls to ensure that they don't have any diseases, that they are very fertile, all of that stuff. And also they do track some of the nutrition that we feed them. We have to record for how much, when, for which months, which specific feed companies do we make use of. And then obviously once they are sold, that information isn't necessarily sometimes shared with the next producer. However, if it's, for example, female animals that we've sold, we share all of their, the bloodline information with regards to milk production, how many calves they've had, all of those kinds of things, more or less what were the trends in their calving weight, the weaning weight, all of those things. And I am also aware in our little town in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, our Pick n Pays don't buy from, I would say, smallholder farmers. They've got specific contractors that they purchase from. where they obviously have these systems or access to the traceability systems to ensure that animals have been fed correctly, that they've been raised correctly, that they've been treated humanely. They also have, for example, the SPCA officers in the area make constant rounds to go double check that the living standards were upheld, that the animals are treated correctly, that they are vaccinated, that there's no outbreak of diseases, stuff like that. So in terms of that, our systems are very advanced compared to some places. But also the smaller the towns get, I would say the more relaxed some of the requirements become, because you'll see that there are smallholder farmers. You've got 10 cows that you'd like to sell. The abattoir is licensed and registered at the Red Meat Producers Organization, and they obviously meet all of the requirements to have a fully functioning abattoir, but they'll sell it there. And then some of the local smaller butcheries will just buy from there. So they don't necessarily focus a lot on traceability. Some of the smaller market shareholders will focus more on, for example, just selling at a reasonable price.
Mhm.
That's just from our little experience in that section of the world, Doctor.
Thank you very much for sharing with us the experience. And I think one thing that you've mentioned is on the contractual arrangements. Again, this can also help in enhancing traceability. If you have, a contractual arrangement with a producer, you are able even to monitor, you understand how these products are being produced, the chemicals being used, the management practices, and so on and so forth. So again, that enhances traceability. And I know most supermarkets right now, they have adopted this form of integration, engaging into contracts with the producers and other suppliers. Thank you, thank you. Who else can share with us? There is Eswatini lady. Yes, Geoffrey.
Yes, good morning, Doctor.
Morning.
I really wanted to share some good experience, but this one, I'm trying to extract it from the national standard. Now, for example, in Uganda here, we have the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. But when it comes to enforcement, some of these standards, it is a little bit an awkward kind of scenario, because you find that some of these food and beverage companies, now, when UNBS is coming for an inspection, now you find some of these guys, they develop one of their product prototypes that they know that if UNBS conducted some sort of tests on the product, they believe that the product is going to pass. So they make sure that they try to do all the possible activities that would lead to their product to be declared of good quality. But that is only taking prototypes to the lab. But upon given a certification, maybe for example, somebody now has acquired a quality mark. But when you go back on ground, these people do different things. Now, for example, when you look at the bakery companies when we have in Uganda, there was one which was shut down. Now, that one, they used to take their prototypes, the product for testing to UNBS labs, and UNBS could declare the product of good quality. But when you go back in the production site, people are doing different things. People are not observing quality. For example, pit latrines are there, but they're not used in the right way that would prevent contamination of the product. So you find that when it comes to enforcement of some of these standards, these standards are enforced at a laboratory kind of level. You find someone has acquired a quality mark, but at a laboratory level. So you find the offices, they rarely conduct some of these periodic kind of inspections, maybe just surprise visits to really go down there and see what some of these businesses are doing. So you find what we are consuming on the market, it is something that is not fit for consumption. So you find with customers, we are saying here, we are getting more learned and very curious to understand, is this product standardized? Is all things necessary for this product to be fit for consumption? but we don't know what happens down there. So we find that the enforcement of some of these standards, it is very, very poor. So that is my experience when it comes to our national standards vis-a-vis enforcement.
And I think, Geoffrey, it's not different from our case, our scenario here in Kenya. I think they do consult each other. So when it comes to enforcement, it has been an uphill task. So what you've mentioned happens even here in Kenya. And all this is because of corruption, rent seeking. Remember, even those officers, the Uganda, Bureau of Standards. In Kenya, we have the Kenya National Bureau of Standards. These guys, they are also compromised. So at the end of the day, if they are promised some good money, they will overlook certain things. They are not thinking of the larger picture, the consumers. So it's about themselves. How much are they making out of that deal, the transaction? So that is why, again, you guys, you've heard about rent seeking.
Yes.
Rent seeking. Yes. So not unless a country is very, very strict on some of these measures and ensure that they are enforced. If they flex a bit, at the end of the day, it's the consumer who is at the receiving end. So that has happened several times here in Kenya, and it does happen even in institutions. When they know that the audits are about to be done or around the corner, what do? They clean their messes. They arrange, the staff so that when the auditors arrive, everything is in place. But that's not ideally how the organization looks like. It's in a total mess. But they paint a different picture. So even these supermarkets, I know of cases whereby a product has expired or the expiry date has passed. What they do, they just remove that and replace with another, pod. And life continues. So you have to be very, very careful as you go purchasing this food stuff. And you have to be, very picky on where you buy the food stuff from. There are certain supermarkets that really try, some outlets that really enforce some of these standards, but there are those that really don't care. So you have to be, again, very cautious as you do your purchases. So I think that marks the end of that topic. So next time, we'll move to supply chain coordination and governance. Supply chain coordination and governance. And then topic 6, we should get a visiting, a visitor to take us through that topic. So I'm still organizing whom we can loop in to take you through that lesson. So I'll share the presentations. I can see you guys have forwarded the presentation, so I will share them with you on ClickUp. Otherwise, it was a good discussion, very, very engaging. I know we have a tentative schedule, but then it is not cast on stones, as I mentioned earlier. Some guys were reminding me that next week we should be having another test as per the schedule that I shared earlier on. But we need to again cover some content before we can have our second test. So I will communicate at the right time when we can have our second test. Is that clear?
Yes, Doctor, that's clear.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
now
Doctor, please.
Yes.
Please don't forget that we are going for a mini recess from this week until the 26th.
When are you breaking?
From tomorrow till the 26th.
Yeah, in fact, I wanted to communicate that most likely we will not meet tomorrow because I'm traveling tonight. Not even tonight.
Yes.
I'll travel very early in the morning. So I don't know
Yes.
my arrival time. I'm going for the Tropentag, for the BioGuard conference and the Tropentag conference. So most likely we might not meet tomorrow. So until probably next week, but I'll be back on 25th. But of course, because it is virtual, we can always meet, irrespective of where I'm connecting from.
Yes, Doctor, yes.
Yes, so that's what I want to communicate.
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Thank you very
Bye.
much, Doctor, and good luck with your conference. Thank you.
Thank you, and do have a good week.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You too.
Oh, okay, bye.
All the best, Doctor.
Thank you.